I'm Kara Ray, founder of the Powerful and Uncensored Entrepreneurs. I'm a mother, stepmother to 3 beautiful children. I'm a wife and a proud entrepreneur. I'm a mindset coach specifically for the powerful and ambitious online female entrepreneurs who desire to create wealth and abundance in all areas of their life. The Powerful and Uncensored Mompreneur podcast is for the ambitious women and mothers who are ready to rise together and empower one another. Get plugged in each week for unfiltered and uncensored conversations between myself and industry leaders who are here to support you. They have unwavering points of views and empower women to believe in themselves. We will be discussing business, spirituality, sexuality, energy, strong points of views, manifestation, and what I like to call breaking the stigma topics, conversations that will no longer be silenced. This is a safe place to reclaim your power of being a woman. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Powerful and Uncensored Mompreneur podcast. So today I'm extremely excited because I have the pleasure of interviewing Lindsay Adamson. Now, it has been a while from us talking and going back and forth about having this interview, so I'm super honored to have you in here. So hello.
Hi, I am so excited to be here too. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally here.
Yeah. And so Lindsay, you guys, is the founder and CEO of The Hungry Lioness. If you have not heard of it, go search and check that out. But she's also an international speaker, writer, and she's a badass businesswoman, as we all know and love. And she's a glam success coach who's completely dedicated to helping you live your best life. So welcome. Thanks again for being here. And so today, Lindsay and I are going to be discussing wealth, abundance, and manifestation, which I know is totally up her alley and her jam.
Totally.
Yeah. And so, Lindsay, every time I start the podcast, I always start off with this question. And what is something that you are currently celebrating in your life right now?
Oh, best question ever. Because I have been exploding with love all week. So for those of you who are listening and you have never met or spoken to me before, I'm Canadian, but I live in Nashville right now. And one thing I'm super excited about in my life is I'm right now writing and recording my first country album. Woo-hoo. So I'm very excited about that.
That is exciting. That should be celebrated. Of course it should be.
Yeah. I'm super big on celebration, and it's a big part of the manifestation process that I love to teach my clients. So I love that you asked me that question.
My first question for you, Lindsay, is what does wealth and abundance mean to you? So I know that everybody kind of has like a different idea of what wealth and abundance truly is, but I want to chat with you about that first before we go into the whole manifestation piece and how that kind of plays a role as well. So
yeah, absolutely. I'm actually just so glad that you asked that question first, because I think that this is something that we all need to ask ourselves and check in with ourselves often, because it's so easy to get trapped at comparing yourself to others and trying to live up to other people's expectations of what we should be going after and what wealth or abundance or money or making it really means. My version has always from day one been surrounded with around freedom. Me, true wealth and abundance is having the time and the freedom and the means to live the exact act of life that I want to live and spontaneously make decisions led from the heart without having to ever wonder if there's enough money to pay for it. And so from day one, starting my business and even prior, I have always let the love and desire of freedom lead the way when it comes to manifesting money, manifesting wealth, dream clients, abundance, and all the things. So for me, it's that. And I love and respect that for each and every one of us out there, there's a completely different definition of what success and what wealth means. And I think that's part of what makes the human experience so freaking amazing and magical, that we all get to own our own definition of what it really means. And I think that's important to consider. So I love that you asked that.
I love everything you just said, and especially in regards to how like the comparison kind of comes into play and how people get lost in comparing their version of what success and wealth and abundance truly looks like for them, and that it gets to literally be what they ultimately want it to be. they have to figure out that definition. And so I always like talking about this because I was just having a discussion with a woman today about comparison and how she felt that something wasn't achievable to her because of somebody else. Like, they did it. How could she do it? If they can, of course you can do it. There's just, anyways, it's a whole other topic too. But so let's dive into manifestation, because that's a big thing of why I wanted to discuss with you, because you are a manifestation queen and so many people call you this. And so,
that is my nickname.
Yeah. And so for our listeners, can you give like your own personal description of what you believe is manifestation?
For sure. How long do you have?
Go ahead.
I could go on about this for the next 5 hours. Do you have that kind of time on your hands? Honestly, to me, manifestation has a lot to do with magic. And when I say that, I mean looking at the whole world as if there's magic everywhere, and that you truly believe that at all times there's magic there all around you, just waiting for you to claim as yours. And so basically, in a nutshell, whether you're new to manifestation or you're seasoned at it, one thing I want you to realize is manifestation is not just when you're in your little meditation corner of your room with candles and crystals and tarot cards and you're visualizing your dream life. Like, that's not just what manifestation is. That definitely can be an element to it. But you are manifesting every single second of every single day. And basically what happens is that you train your mind through practice and repetition what to believe in and what you believe is possible for you and what you believe you're worthy of. And when you achieve new results in your life, it's not because you got better or you developed a new skill necessarily or you became more talented or any of those things. Most of the time it comes down to you believing that you deserved more or that you are capable or worthy of more. And that is the number one key to manifesting, really learning to frame things in your mind and wrap your head around developing new belief systems that will allow you to attract new and better things into your life. And so say, for example, you're shooting for a new income bracket. Say you've been making $2,000 or $3,000 a month and you're finally ready to start calling in $8,000 or $10,000 per month. Our logical brains are our absolute worst enemy when it comes to manifestation, because your logical brain is going to say, okay, I made $50,000 this year. So yeah, I can wrap my head around making 60 next year, 70 the year after, 80 the year after that, because that's a pretty gradual stepping stone. I can wrap my head around that being possible. But your logical mind can't see going from $2,000 or $3,000 a month to then 10 the next month without changing anything in your strategy or without working more hours. Your logical brain can't see you at home singing in your bedroom and then a year later being a mega superstar on a stage in front of 30,000 people. Your logical brain can't see you going from 1,000 this year to 500,000 next year. It just can't see that. But I can personally attest, based on my own experience and based on watching my clients and helping my clients create wild, sexy success in their life and businesses, that success, manifestation, abundance, wealth, it is not logical. It has nothing to do with logic and everything to do with what you believe, what you truly believe you're capable of and what is possible for you. And I want to distinguish a super important factor. What you want to believe and what you truly believe are two separate things. And a lot of people are not consciously aware of that. The more you can wake up and be super in tune and aware of how you tick and what you think and what patterns you're practicing that are holding you back, and where those belief systems stem from, and maybe what needs to be healed from your childhood, your adolescence, what needs to be worked through, what needs to be released, the more you can get to know yourself on a deeper level and stop distracting yourself, the more you actually rewire your brain to be a fellow manifesting queen, because you can control your thoughts to believe that all of these big things that you truly deeply desire are coming to you. And when you can believe without a doubt, and when you can be so excited about it coming to you that you're obsessively thinking about it all day long, all the time, it will come like that so quickly and easily. But you have to remove that portion of disbelief prior. And it's like releasing a dam, and then all of a sudden the water just comes crashing in. The minute you release that self-doubt and you start to feel worthy, that's when all the magic happens. So that's my really condensed nutshell version of the most important key facts about manifestation.
Well, I think that was an incredible description of manifestation. I'm sitting here being like, oh, like with this like awe face. And I love that you touched on the difference in the beliefs and what you actually believe in, and like the subconscious and conscious, and really like anchoring in on those and, you know, embodying them now instead of later, but how there could be some work that has to happen for you to let go of those self-doubts. And so I like that you talked about that, because that was a huge part of my journey when I first started. And in regards to manifestation, you know, prior to know, being pregnant with my son now, I never understood the power of like the feminine divinity, basically, in a way. And it is like exponential when you are also creating human life. And so the things that happen in the last like 5 months have been insane in a way that like I can't even fully describe to people. And the questions that I have and the awareness that I have, it's something I wish all women would tap into. It's like one of those things that just once it clicks, it blows your mind, and you wish that there was words to describe it. And so I love the description that you put, because literally I can't fully describe what is currently happening in my life and the manifestation and things that happen. But when you can tap into your feminine power, my goodness.
Oh, hell yeah, sister. Oh my God, I got chills. I'm excited for you.
Pardon me. And so I have another question about manifestation for you, of course, but how has manifestation played like a huge significant role in your business and personal life? Like what has been like the major like aha boom moments where you've almost like blown your own mind?
Oh my gosh, I have so many things. I don't know how I'm going to pick a few. Honestly, when I first started my business, I had always been mentored by male mentors, and I was really taught to tap into my male energy, to be super competitive, to work myself to the bone until I was ready to drop and like burn myself out, and just work harder than everyone else around me to create success. And because I had so much evidence of why that worked in my life for almost a decade while I was at a high-powered sales job, I kept repeating that pattern because it was working for me. I was making hundreds of thousands of dollars when I was in my early 20s, and that way I was taught, you know, and I didn't know any other way. But in talks with parents, I've always manifested since I was like 3 years old. It's just that none of us understood what it meant or what I was actually doing. But I've always been the kind of girl that when I have my eye on a target, I don't give up until it has come into my life, which is most of the time a good thing. Sometimes in the past it hasn't been. But in regards to my business, I mean, 2 years ago, I was selling programs for $45, and now I have a full sold out private coaching practice charging $2,500 a month. I sell out my programs. I've manifested tens of thousands of dollars in the last few months. And I mean, I just hit a $42,000 launch. I've manifested speaking gigs where I'm headlining events with big, huge celebrities like Al Pacino and John Travolta, 50 Cent, Randy Zuckerberg. And I've gotten to fly around the world speaking and inspiring people. I have manifested women that want to work with me and value and appreciate me and pay me a lot of money, who are just the most incredible women in the entire world, and getting to watch them grow and get through all the bullshit standing in their way and just like bloom and blossom and kick ass and get rich and just like feel freaking unstoppable. Like That is the best part. Honestly, that is the part that fuels me. That is the part that makes me so freaking happy. But one of the things I always manifest is travel. So I see a picture in my mind of the kind of place I want to stay at, and then I literally go stay at that exact place. So back in September, I was ready to write my first book, which is coming out really super soon and is for all of you kick-ass ladies who want to manifest some really big money flow into your lives. But I decided I wanted to write it in France, in a countryside villa where there'd be no one around, and I would have the time and space without distraction to write my full book in 2 weeks. I also decided that I wanted to stay in Paris and have a hotel room with a terrace with a direct view of the Eiffel Tower. And I literally manifested those exact 2 places, the hotel room in Paris with the unforgettable view of the Eiffel Tower sparkling away at night, and this incredible, like 200-year-old converted barn villa in the French countryside surrounded by sunflower fields, and wrote the whole book in like, I think 13 days or something like that. So it's pretty freaking cool things. But there's also just like a lot of little things every single day that most people wouldn't even take notice of, that I've trained my brain to take notice of and feel gratitude towards, so that they keep coming. But honestly, just the greatest gift is clients I've been able to manifest, because when I first started business, the whole first year I was being mentored by a mentor who really kind of encouraged me to try to be this perfect, cold person who didn't show any emotion or vulnerability and really just was not me at all. And of course, I manifested the exact wrong clients at that time. And I really didn't know if I wanted to continue because I just didn't even really enjoy coaching so much back then. And over the last 2 years, as I've really tapped into these manifestation powers and become just the most incredible manifester, I've really sought to be a really positive role model for women, to show all women just how much power they have to create their lives the exact way that they want them. And just manifesting clients that feel like sisters, that feel like family, but also have the drive and determination and the fact that they're so coachable to get these insanely amazing results. It's a huge blessing, and one that I'm grateful for every single day.
Well, I like that you just touched on like gratitude, but also in regards to investments, and like being coachable is extremely important, especially when wanting and looking for a coach and seeking for a coach. But that's also something that I've learned, that even when I was working with my one coach for a year, the blocks and the things that I suppressed for so long, like even the vulnerability piece, like you had talked about vulnerability, was I remember I was crying on a call and I couldn't even look at her. And she said, "Why are you looking away from me? Like, whoever told you that you couldn't express your emotions in the way that you're feeling them? And you have all the right to feel them." Mm-hmm. And it was like that moment, not that I needed validation, but that moment of like reassurance of like, I can be exactly who I want to be. And so I love that you're nurturing and supporting and teaching women that they can be exactly who they want to be, because I believe in empowering women and reclaiming their voice and owning who they are. And that takes a lot of grace. That also takes forgiving yourself for things you didn't know. And Absolutely. Also like the whole trust and surrender piece is something that I just could not wrap my mind around for so long. I just thought so much about it. And my coach was like, believe me, once you just let go, it's going to make sense. And it finally did. Yeah. And it finally did. One day I woke up and I was like, yeah, I understand what you mean now, but I had to experience all of this and to get to that stage. But I wanted to talk to you about like the investment piece, because I know that there's so many women who hold themselves back in regards to investment, but like money is an exchange of energy. And it's the believability behind it that always is coming back in return. Like I remember when I first invested with my coach, it was the most money I've ever spent in my life on myself. And it made me basically crap my pants. But I said yes. But every single month, it was effortlessly there. And so I just want to chat about that, because I know that there's so much fear surrounding financial wealth. And so I just want to chat with you about that and like your opinion around, investments and energy and money and all that. So I'll let you.
Yeah, I definitely want to touch on that, and also something you said a little bit earlier, and wrap them into a cohesive answer.
Sounds great.
So the first thing I want to say, hey, you're a female business owner and you're putting things out into the world that were created from your intuition, from your heart, and you have to trust that you're going to hit your goals and hit you set out to hit, and attract the people you want to attract to buy your program, your service, your product. As human beings, what happens is we not only get attached to the outcome that we want to manifest, but we get obsessively attached to how we expect it to happen for us. And this is a really big realization that I want you to make while listening to this today, that if you are asking God or the universe, your angels, whoever you speak to, for a miracle in your life, for help to achieve, accomplish, experience, call in something, it is not your job to determine the best way for it to show up in your life. And manifestation has a lot to do with faith, which really connects to this investment question. Most people have faith all wrong. They believe when they set goal, because planning feels really warm and fuzzy, like a big fluffy blanket wrapped in planning feels really good. Doing, taking action, that's what's freaking scary. That's where you shake in your boots. So most people have a ton of faith while they're planning, while they're setting their goals, while they're laying out the project and making a strategy and all the things. But the thing is that because we cannot predict how we're going to manifest that outcome, faith wavers when things look like they're not working. And the truth is that most of the time they look like they're not working. For example, I want to be extremely vulnerable with you. I mentioned earlier that I just hit a $42,000 launch. Well, it was a 14-day launch, and there was 10 to 12 full days of me marketing at full force where 0 people signed up for any of those 10 to 12 days. I had a ton of people at the beginning before I even started selling it, and I had people at the end. But there was a good 12 days where nobody was showing. And it's about having faith from the first second to the last second, that even if it doesn't look like it's working, that it is working. And that if you keep holding faith and visualizing that outcome and expecting it to happen, that it will. Mm-hmm. And even if you don't hit 100% of your goal, my goal was 50,000. Setting that high bar made it so that it was nearly double of any other launch I had hit in the past. So it's all about having faith. And that's what leads us into this investment question. It is freaking scary as hell to invest in yourself. But this is the point blank answer. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get the results that you've always had. And it's not that you can't achieve success if you don't have a coach. It's just going to take 10 times longer because a coach provides a shortcut. But also what a coach does, which I'm absolute master at, is they connect the dots for you. So what happens is when you come up with ideas, when you're working on projects, you're right in the middle of it. A lot of the time you can't see the big outer picture side of that project because you're so invested in it. And so coach, what they're going to do is they're going to look at it from the outside and be an observer. And they're going to listen to all the things that you have to say, and they're going to connect the dots. And then you're going to say, oh my God, how did you just listen to me for 15 minutes and tell me what I've been trying to figure out for the last 10 years? And they're going to say, I literally just repeated exactly what you said to me and then just connected the dots. And you're going to be like, oh my God, this is crazy. I can't believe it. And then the next day, as a coach, you're going to get a message that says, oh my God, I feel so good after yesterday. I can't believe I was so stuck on this for such a long time. I feel so light and airy. It's like, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to do that. And that's the beauty of coaching. And that's what you're robbing yourself of when you don't have a willingness to invest in yourself. So I had a similar experience to you, Kara. My first coach I ever invested in, I paid in full $25,000 in one single day. And do you know what was included? 2 days of coaching. 2 days of coaching, $25,000. And I can't say that was to the best coach in the world, but it opened up doors for me to start speaking on stages all over the world and get amazing opportunities and make a huge network. And so I don't regret it for a second. And since then, I've invested over $100,000 on myself and my business. And although that's a lot of money, and sometimes, your mind wanders when your ego acts up and you think, well, what if I had just spent that $100,000 and hired a full-time employee to do all the work for me? Like sometimes you think about those things, but then I think about where I would be at in my life and all the things that I've overcome and worked through and healed and released and built over the last 2.5 years, 3 years. And I'm just like, where the frig would I be if I didn't get all that coaching? Like, I have no idea. And so some people have genuine desire to create wealth in their lives because they want tangible objects. They want that Chanel purse. They want that Lamborghini. They want that yacht, whatever. And if what you want, like, there's no judgment there. That's totally fine. But I realized a long time ago that the secret to happiness is progress. Feeling like you're moving, feeling like you're making progress in your life. And so here's the complete truth. And I know this has been a long-winded answer, but this is important. If you don't invest in yourself and get in rooms around people that are at a higher level than you, then you're spending time around people who aren't fueling you to get better, to up level, and to create more magic in your life. And if you don't have an investment that you're making that scares you, it won't motivate you enough to do what's necessary to create the results that you are longing for in your heart. So here's a perfect example. I easily spent probably like $4,000 on courses this year that I never finished. Because each time I'm 1,000 here, 1,500 there. And they were courses that taught live, and then they had modules, and I knew I'd have lifetime access. And I was just like, yeah, I'll eventually get to them. I've done, a few modules here, a few modules there, because the investment just didn't scare me at all. I mean, to me now, that's like, whatever, $1,000 is never going to make or break me, like, ever. But in January, I invested $22,000 into my current coach. And, it was a big, scary investment. It drained my entire savings account at the time. And I just trusted. But I knew I had to invest a big, scary amount that lit a fire underneath me. Because if she said, okay, it's going to be $1,000 a month, I knew that I wouldn't have had enough skin in the game to really take it seriously. Yeah. But you hire someone who's at the level that you want to be at because they provide a shortcut. If you're coachable, if you're willing to do the work, or if you're willing to fully trust them. Because if those 3 pieces aren't in place, there's not a damn thing they do for you. So that's my thought about all of that.
Well, and I like that you just touched on the piece of how, meet them at that certain level. And also if you're spending time with people who are at like a lower level or where you are at that very moment, they're not pushing you to be this higher level. And that was a huge push that I had when I first started working with my coach, is that I felt like I was deserving of more. And I didn't know how to get that. And the connections and the relationships that I had were fueled by alcohol, irresponsibility, and a ton of just like poor relationships. And so I didn't know how to remove myself, because those situations always made me feel, I guess, numb as to who I was as a person. And there was a lot of growth. I think people sometimes underestimate the amount of personal growth that comes with hiring a coach and figuring out your next level, because your next level isn't where you are now. It's completely in a different position. And so the relationships that I have with people now are insanely different. And I even thought about this the other day, where I said, wow, someone I was so close to, I haven't seen in, like 7 months. And that's okay, because that relationship I can love from afar now. because we don't serve each other at that level anymore. And sometimes that can be really difficult to go through, and you're going to go through emotions, but I couldn't tell you how grateful I am that that relationship is not in my life anymore. And I'm not allowing myself to be at a lower level because I feel like I deserve to be at a higher level. And I think people get a little confused about that whole like deserving piece. Is you are deserving of an incredible freaking life. Like you are. I just wish everybody would believe that with every ounce of their being, that stepping into a higher container with someone, you are deserving of that higher container. You are deserving of everything that they are also creating. Like when I step on and have conversations with women like you, or like Melanie, or just other women who I see and who inspire me to step at this level, I get to be in this container of talking with women who have done these things, and it is incredible. And that's like, I've talked to women about, I have a podcast because I'm inspired by these women and I want to learn from these women, which I get to do. And then therefore other women get to do. I'm putting myself in a container. Yes, there may be no investment at this stage in this one, but I'm still putting myself in this container with these women and then still investing above that.
You're hitting it right on the money, because you're doing it exactly right. You literally get to spend every single one of these interviews learning whatever piece of magic every single one of these women have. And that's a really important part that I want to say out loud, because there was a time in my life where I really was growing and transitioning and didn't have anyone in my immediate surroundings anymore in person that could help me fuel my growth, or that supported my dreams, or was going in the same direction. And at that point, I hired a second coach, but I also just surrounded myself online with as many women as possible who were going in the same direction as me, because I needed to feel that sense of community until I was able to learn to manifest it in my real life, in my immediate surroundings. And a lot of you are holding on to friendships simply out of obligation because they've been in your life so long, but they'll see you as the person that you were, not the person that you are. And as long as you're spending time with them, dragged backwards. And so you need to hang out with people, not who see you as the person you are today, who treat you like the person you're working to become. Because if you step into that role and you show up in the world that way and you practice enough times repetitively, you will naturally become her. The woman that you're working so hard to become. And the reason why that's able to happen is because she's the woman you were born to be. And you've been her all along. It's just clearing out all the cobwebs and bullshit so that you can realize that you are her and you have the potential to be her anytime you choose. But hanging out with people who bring that fire out in you is going to be making it happen a whole lot faster.
Yes. Insert a mic drop. And even choice. I want to talk about the power of choice. Is that each one of us is given a choice every single day when we wake up in the morning and go to bed at night. The decisions that you make throughout the day have a direct influence on your circumstances, where you want to go, but also it has a direct influence on other people around you. Like when I wake up in the morning and I, set my intentions for the day, I also realize that not only are my intentions fueling my ambitions, but they also potentially are fueling somebody else's. That by me continuously moving forward is also providing someone else with that push to do the same. Like that is a huge fuel for me every day, is to know that, yes, I'm doing this because I freaking love myself and I want to go super far in my life. But I'm also showing other women that they can have exactly what I'm doing or other people are doing by being intentional and by making the choice every single day that they get to have this incredible life. And it is a choice. It is always a choice. I've heard so many people make up excuses as to why they can't do X, Y, Z, and I call bullshit on every single one because it's a choice. So I'm like extremely passionate. If someone's like, I can't do it, yes, you can. You can. You just have to have the belief, which you were talking about in the beginning, is stripping that all the way down. Like, I like how this conversation can completely come into full circle and all of this all intertwines together. But I have one last question for you. It's not necessarily a question. It's more of like a guidance piece for women who are listening, who are struggling with, wealth, abundance, manifestation, and the beliefs. What is some guidance that you would love to just provide to them and you just wish that they would know now?
Yeah, I would love to teach you that. I'm actually going to share with you something that, some insider access that I was just actually teaching the ladies in my Lioness Sisterhood program yesterday. We actually just started a unit on money and manifestation. And so this is a shorter version of what I was teaching them yesterday. The first thing I want you to understand is no matter what has happened in your past, no matter how many times you failed, no matter what mistakes you've made, no matter what challenges you've faced or overcome, whether you said the wrong thing, did the wrong thing, didn't do something you wish you had done, no matter what happened in the past, it does not have to have any bearing on what happens in your present or your future. In fact, something you did, said, didn't do an hour ago doesn't have a bearing on your future. A minute ago doesn't have to have a bearing on your future. Just like she just said, choice is in every minute, every second of every day. And so the minute that you choose and really anchor in that choice, that things are going to be different from now on, they will be. But you have to fully commit to your decisions. And that's where 99% of the world lacks, because they make decisions on a whim when their vibration or emotions are all wacky and all over the place, and they don't stick to those decisions with commitment and integrity. So when you decide something, decide it with your full force, stay committed to it, and those choices you make can have a completely different outcome for your future. And remember that manifestation is not logical. So you can be struggling right now with $10, $20, $50,000 in debt, and you can finish off the year $100,000 ahead and have all your debt paid off. There is no one and nothing can stop you from doing that if you choose. Because guess what? You can make money in logical and illogical ways. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an insider tip on exactly how to change your money mindset, and really to change your mindset around any challenge you're facing or any pattern you're trying to break in your life. So your subconscious mind is what drives all of the most important decisions in your life. So we try to make change through our conscious minds. So we say, okay, I'm going to go on a diet, or I'm going to go to the gym 30 days in a row, or any of these things. That's from your conscious mind. But the thing is, no matter what you decide in your conscious mind, your subconscious programming is always running. And there's always a tendency to follow our patterns, our rituals, our ways of believing things, our thought patterns, our action-taking patterns. And so a lot of the time, those patterns and beliefs sabotage the things that we want, even if we want them so bad. And so it's all about reprogramming. And so there's ways to do that, and they both need to be done simultaneously. And without one or the other, the level of success is going to be questionable. The first element that you need when you're trying to change a habit or a mindset or a pattern is you need to look deep down within and ask yourself, where did this pattern stem from? Where did this belief stem from? So if it's you feeling like you're in lack or you can never get ahead with money, I want you to really deep down, not from your mind, but from your heart, just really ask yourself and your higher power, your higher intuition, where did this belief stem from? Was it from one of my parents? Was it from an experience that I had when I was a child? Is it from a certain failure I've experienced in my life? And whatever it is, I want you to be committed to do some healing around that, some release work around that. And remember that we must feel things in order to heal them. We need to get aware of them, and then we need to heal them and really feel them out, because we often distract ourselves and push these things down. We don't realize they're still lingering. So that first step. And what allows you to do is create space, because you're willing to finally release things that have been hurting you and holding you back. And when you create space, you can then have room to introduce a new pattern. And so a new pattern is going to be formed when you repetitively tell yourself a new story enough times that you really anchor it in, internalize it, and really start to believe it. And so I want you to rewrite your money story and write a new story for yourself that you powerfully anchor in. And so I would suggest writing a one-page story. And it's not a story of, I want this or I'd really desire this. It's from the present tense as if you're already experiencing it. So I am living my money dreams. I have $50,000 a month rolling in. Da 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 da. I am so grateful for this. I'm so happy to be experiencing that. And you're writing this story that literally gives you goosebumps and chills all over your body as you write it and read it. And then the job is to internalize it and read it and really visualize it enough times that you teach yourself that's your story. Last little tip I'll give you on that is that your mind doesn't actually know the difference between visualizing something and physically doing it. And so if you repetitively visualize this new money story, your mind will believe that it is real. But it takes repetition and it needs that space. So we have to do the release work and repetitively internalizing that new story together as a unit in order to heal this money mindset. So that is your coaching for the day on that.
I think that's beautiful. And I know that there's so many listeners that are also going to resonate with that. And it's powerful. And rewriting your story is just, it's probably the most unique thing someone can tell you, but one of the most powerful things someone can tell you is that you have the power of ultimately rewriting your story. And the power lies with you. It's just like the choice. The choice is yours. You choose to rewrite the story and to rewrite and bring forth and bring into fruition this brand new abundant story. So I love it. So I want to thank you so much for sharing this space and having this incredible conversation. There's been so much. I've been sitting here being like, girl, you need to re-listen to this. So I'm going to be going back and listening to this probably a few times myself. But for those who want to connect with you and learn from you some more, where can they find you in the social world?
Oh, well, I would absolutely love for you to join our Lioness Pride. You can find our group under the Hungry Lioness on Facebook. And of course, on Instagram, I'm Lindsay Adamson Official, and you can find me on Facebook under Lindsay Adamson. And boop, 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 my new website's about to drop in a couple of weeks, lindsayadamson.com. I'm so excited about that.
That's exciting. So I will make sure that I put all of the links in the bio as well. So if you guys didn't catch that, it'll all be in there for you to just click on and go straight to Lindsay. And so thank you again. I'm so happy to share this space. And to everybody else, I will see you guys all in the next episode. Have the most incredible day. Bye.
Thank you so much.